Well, hello and welcome to Ecamm Live's YouTube feed, where today we are talking about presenting on Ecamm and how it has changed things for us. I'm a British-based drag queen who, during lockdown, was forced into an online entertainment world, and I found it pretty horrific until I found Ecamm. And I am joined with two people who have brought their careers onto Ecamm as well, their shows, their passions, and everything else. We're going to meet them now, and they are with me here, the lovely Marga Gomez and Kathy Hester, sorry, excuse me. Now, I need to adjust this screen slightly because I am only getting a little bit of you. There you go, Marga, you've squished into my little box. Thank you very much. How
Oh,
are we,
such a
ladies?
diva.
Now let me come to you, Marga, first. There we go. We can be big together. How are you, Marga? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be on the Ecamm stream chat. I am, I think, the earliest time zone. So, showbiz hours. I'm just waking up, but I think I'm going to make it because I've got a cup of tea. Tea.
Oh, it's so British. Is that in my honor?
Yes, it is.
Well,
It's
lucky.
black tea in my honor. Yes.
Nice. I'm in England where we're slightly further ahead than you, so I'm slightly further ahead than you, and poured
Oh,
my. It's cocktail hour here, so I've
oh, cheers.
started. Cheers. Okay, so where are you, Margaret? Are you on the West Coast?
I am in San Francisco, the mecca of pride.
Lovely. I love San Francisco. When I'm not dressed like this, I'm airline cabin crew, flight attendant in American speak. And I used to
Oh,
spend a whole bunch of time in San Francisco. I haven't flown since March last year, which is why I'm on here doing a lot of Ecamm shows, but a lot of my time was spent in San Francisco.
oh, your on-plane announcements are probably some of the best, right?
When they let me have freedom of
Hmm.
speech, yes.
Oh, I,
But they,
I just love, yes. Um, yeah, so I grew up in New York, and then I came out to San Francisco when I was like 20, and there was this counterculture. This was Harvey Milk time. Everyone
right,
was an artist. Everyone could afford to live here and be an artist. That's changed, but
very
I'm
much
sort of in
so.
a rent control loophole. So so this is kind of where everything started for me as an out of the closet performer.
Awesome. I remember being in San Francisco and thinking I would check out the cinemas and theaters and take in some local culture. And I just looked on a local listings and I was staying up at Nob Hill and I noticed the Nob Hill Theatre was very close. So I wandered across to that and then I discovered it perhaps wasn't going to be as artistic as I expected. It was fabric-free entertainment in that particular theatre.
That's right. A lot of raincoats.
Yes,
Did they have, I always wanted to, I guess, I think everybody's following what we're talking about, right?
oh,
Um,
definitely.
but I always wanted to go there, and it's crazy because I was in a relationship with someone who lived around the corner. It would have been so easy for me just to, pop my head in. But I guess my question, Fonda, is in this adult male, sometimes live shows, and adult male films, and did they sell popcorn?
It was extra salty.
Oh, wow.
Uh, we'll move on to cookery shows a bit later on, I think, but with different recipes. Yes, it was a very interesting. I've had some very interesting times in San Francisco, and I'm sure you've probably provided people with some very interesting times. You do live shows in San Francisco?
I am just getting, I'm finally getting into it. I've become quite the recluse, Fonda, Kathy. Yeah, I've really enjoyed live streaming more than, I mean, I did love playing live, but there have been clubs in San Francisco where I started. In fact, in the 90s, and I think, yeah, and late 80s, there was a place called the Valencia Rose. I started doing comedy and then I do theater as well. But I really got into the comedy boom of the '80s, and it was pretty tough for a lesbian, a gay man, trans person to do comedy back then. But there was a club called the Valencia Rose that just opened, and and it was opened by gay school teachers who were
Oh, wow.
performers. And yeah, and it was kind of legend, Fonda. We would have loved you there, but you're too young. Um,
Oh,
and
you're so sweet.
so yeah, so that's really where I found my audience, and this was just as we lived through the onset of the AIDS crisis, and it was a community that was intersectional. There was, of course, the LGBT people, but there was also progressive, liberal people. Everyone came to see comedy and cabaret at the Valencia Rose because it was finally ours. We finally owned it.
Nice.
And from there, I established myself as a performer quite accidentally. And then I had a career, and I've been doing this uh, over 35 years.
Wow. That's very impressive. I want your moisturizer secrets. I'm
It's
going
in
to
the
bring.
popcorn at Nob Hill. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I think I dropped the so that's kind of what I've done. I've played in San Francisco, and then I've toured nationally because I'm from New York. I've always been playing off Broadway and this and that. But since the pandemic, um, I wound up in this nice apartment, and it was nicer before I turned my living room into a public access cable studio.
it does screw with your house, doesn't it? I have green curtains everywhere these days now. It's terrible.
I taped the first day of shelter in place. My 13th one person show was about to open, and of course we were postponed. And I hadn't even been paying attention to the news about COVID, and then I realized, might be out of commission for a while. And I wound up going before the stores closed, the brick and mortar stores closed. I bought audio equipment. And then soon I went to the theatrical supply store before they closed, and I bought green photography paper, and I taped it up ceiling to floor myself, and I started doing the virtual backgrounds. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been very impressed with how great Ecamm is with all the things that you can use with your green screen effects. I've been able to bring game shows to the masses, and I do things. We have a game show from the 80s in the UK called Play Your Cards Right, and they have two rows of playing cards across the back of the studio with a Vanna White style girl turning the cards round. And I was able to recreate that with two pieces of green cardboard on a music stand and some regular size playing cards. So it comes up and it looks very effective until I have to turn one of the cards, and then this giant hand reaches in behind me and turns all the cards over because it's my hand on a tiny little card. It looks crazy, but it works. It's very effective. So I'm glad we have these little tricks at our fingertips. I'm going to bring the lovely Kathy in because she's sat in my ear at the moment, laughing away and enjoying the conversation. And I want you to join in, Kathy. So, Margaret, I will bring you back in a second. But for now, Kathy, hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Well, who would not be laughing? You guys are so funny and awesome.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with Ecamm because I see cookery in your midst.
It's true. And we use a different kind of salt in my food, I promise. Right? So what I do is I'm a vegan cookbook author, recipe developer. And so I actually started using Ecamm before the pandemic. So I think that's maybe how I'm a little different than the two of you guys.
Definitely.
But I was an orchestral musician, and then I was a programmer, web developer kind of person. So I wasn't afraid of being in front of crowds or talking or performing, but being in front of a camera was a very it was a ledge I had to like jump off of, you
Yep.
know. And it's taken a while. And one of the things that I actually have done during the pandemic, the pivot I made is I was teaching people who were shy and reluctant how to be on camera because it's
Okay.
intimidating, right? This,
Very, it can be.
even now I'm looking at this thing, but I see you, Vonda, right? It's a mind shift, which is
Yep.
really interesting. Um, but yeah, I just wasn't really interested in doing this. And I was with Ecamm for so long, it's when you just bought it and you were
Okay.
done.
Wow.
So
Wow, jealous.
yeah.
Yeah, you got in at a
Well,
good time.
I upgraded. So let me assure you, I bought my way out of that.
Oh,
But because the Ecamm Pro is not necessarily for everyone, but it's so affordable for what it does. Like even now, we talked about maybe showing my setup a little bit. Because I have Ecamm Pro, I have Ecamm Virtual Cam. So when I do a demo on somebody else's Facebook page or if I'm speaking at a conference, I can always demo my setup because it lets you do that. And that's just so powerful. I haven't seen that anywhere else.
now I'm very impressed with that setup as well. When I first started using Ecamm, I had moved from using Zoom to try and bring my pub shows to the internet. And at that point, I had three mobile phones all hooked into Zoom and one computer spotlighting which mobile phone I was talking to. And you'd find you're talking like this to your audience because you forget where you're supposed to be. Whereas with Ecamm, it's all at your fingertips and you can just flick around and bring those effects in. And while you're talking about something, you can face your audience. And then when you want them to see what you're talking about, just bring that right up. I'm sure you probably benefit from being able to have your recipes printed down the side of the screen as a picture that you can bring up as well.
See, in some ways I'm advanced and in some ways I'm backward. So I just do when do a cooking class, it's like 3 hours. And
Right.
sometimes I even develop recipes during the cooking class
Ooh, is
because
that because things have
that
gone wrong or?
no, and that's a great question. And here's the thing that I like, and this is why I like teaching people who are shy and reluctant because they're like, oh, but what if the dog barks and what if the mailman walks on the door? Or what if my gravy gets lumpy? Awesome. It's a teaching moment, right?
Yep,
So,
definitely.
and I've been teaching for a long time and I'm Southern, so our gravy is supposed to be perfect. But I was making four dishes like this. I have this counter is like 6 feet long and 3 feet wide, and I'll have like five instant pots and a hot plate and all these things.
Oh no.
And I didn't whisk soon enough. My gravy got lumpy, and I got that feeling in the pit of my stomach that probably any performer gets at any time when you're like, "Oh, this is not good." And then
Yep.
I flipped it, and I said, "Right, okay, you're Marga laughing." And I was like, if someone came to me and said, "My gravy's lumpy and I've got to serve dinner, what would I do?" So I like was able to pop into that space. I was like, I would tell them to throw it in the blender. Threw it in the blender, and then I looked in the camera and said, "And now you never have to be afraid of having lumpy gravy. You have a solution." So I gave them something, and this is what I try to teach people. When something goes wrong and you fix it, you've actually given a better gift to your audience than if everything
Yeah,
goes perfectly. Right? If I just go
exactly.
and, oh, look, here's a 6 course meal that I made in an hour, you're like, well, that's great, but I'm not making it. Right?
I think people like to see that human element as well, don't they? Especially like with you, you're bringing people into your home, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is my real kitchen, and that's my real front yard and everything. Um, and I like people to feel like they're sitting on the other side of the counter with me and that we're just hanging out. Because one of the things too is you have to think about your brand, right? Like, what does your brand do? Obviously, your brand wears sparkly makeup. And it's hard for
Yep.
me not to peek down at you because you're so pretty.
It's-
My brand does not wear makeup and wears funky t-shirts. I wear Harry Potter t-shirts to do my
Okay.
cooking classes. I am 56 years old, which means I can do whatever I want to.
I
Right?
I look
But
forward to that time.
right? And and you will get there and it will be glorious in its own way. Um, but like somebody else, maybe makeup, like for you, makeup would be inappropriate for a drag queen to come on without makeup, right? That would be like, what?
Yep.
Um, as a human being, I curse a lot, and the more friends you become with me, the more you know. As a brand, I don't. And so
Right.
I always say the line that's drawn between me is I don't curse as a brand.
Okay.
Other than that, I try to keep everything the same. I talk about kindness. I talk about, things that I would want to spread in the world that we all do, actually.
Yep.
And I do it in my little place in the world. So I'm like, when the pandemic was happening, I'm like, make sure you're tipping your delivery people extra. Make sure you appreciate these people, because I was in a position to do that as well. And I don't know about you or Marga, but one of the things I did when the pandemic started happening, I do vegan and plant based cooking, which sounds like the same. Vegans
Right.
do it for moral reasons, plant based people do it for health based reasons. So a lot of
Okay.
times, plant based people are older. So I have an older audience. Like I have some 20, 30-year olds, but I also have some 80-year olds
Okay.
in my office. So I knew a lot of people were kind of alone. So I did lives Monday through Friday. We had lunch together and we just hung out. And sometimes I literally would eat lunch. Sometimes I would do a recipe. We did chop and chats. We chopped onions for 2 hours and they could just ask me questions, but they
Wow.
didn't feel so alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you and Marga also brought to the table. I think that's what we all, as live streamers or using Ecamm, really brought to 2020, is saying, hey, you're not alone. We're here with you and we're going to get through this together. And I think that's very powerful.
I would completely agree with that. One person who has been left on their own is the lovely Marga. So I'm going to bring her back in.
Yes.
There she is. Now we've got a three-way going on. Who'd have thought?
Hey. Um, Kathy, you're just you're so inspiring. Um, I have a different solution. When my gravy gets lumpy, I do use the blender and make margaritas. That's what I do.
Well,
And then you
Marga,
don't
you
care
can
about
make,
the lumps.
I like that. You can make gravy at my house any day. I tell you, I'll drink
Okay.
your margaritas. I'll drink your margaritas and make you a little fiesta.
Ooh, we need to go
Hmm.
to Kathy's. My only cookery
Oh,
tip
I
that I've
so want
ever
to go
been
to
able to
Kathy's.
give, definitely. The only cookery tip I've ever taken on board is that if you're preparing curly kale and you fry it in a little bit of coconut oil first, it slides out of the pan into the trash quicker when you then need to come for a pizza because you've burnt it. That's the
I
only
was
one I
worried
know.
about you for a moment there, Fonda. Okay.
Well,
I
Cheryl,
just wanted to. Oh, sorry. Off of what you said is, I think that the live streaming and what we've been able to do with Ecamm effectively is to bridge the loneliness that people were having
mhm.
during the pandemic, and to try to make it feel like what it is, a live experience.
Definitely. I found a huge difference, and I'm interested with you, Marga, coming from a stage performance perspective, if you found this too, where when I'm on a stage, there is almost this barrier between you and the audience because they're out there in the dark
Mm.
and you perform to them. And although it's an intimate cabaret setting and as a drag queen, I talk to my crowd and I bounce with them, and whatever they tell me, I turn it into humor. You never get to the root of these people and know exactly who you're talking to. You just have a 5 second interlude with them. Whereas I took Ecamm and used the virtual camera that you were talking about, Kathy, and took it over to Zoom. And then my audience could be involved with me. When they got rowdy, I could mute them, which was marvelous. And when I wanted to speak to them, I could bring them back. And I too was doing the 3 hour shows on a Sunday afternoon with them. And it became like a family. And now that things are slowly starting to open up again in the UK. I've just completed a weekend where we had a Fonda Cox webinar kind of live event where people traveled from all over the country. People were traveling 300 miles and booking hotels just to come and see me. I know 300 miles all over the country, that's probably not even out of state to you guys, but for us, that's a huge effort. And um, it also kind of changed my performance style a lot because as a drag queen, you've always been sharp and caustic and funny, and then you realize that there was people out there that just needed someone to come into their house to prevent them being alone during the lockdown and be with them and make them feel like they had company. And I suddenly became this Queen of Hearts, which had never been my show style before, but it was a lovely thing to be able to do.
Oh yeah, that definitely sounds like. I mean, I can sense your heart. So that's wonderful. So all the people who have been following you virtually had sort of this convention, right?
Yeah, we had the show that I started with on online was every Easter Sunday I would always do this tradition where I would take over a pub for the entire afternoon. We'd play bingo, we'd do old 80s quiz show games, I'd do stand-up comedy and we'd sing. And the lockdown hit for us in March in 2020, just before this Easter weekend, and everyone was complaining that it wouldn't happen. So I just put on Facebook, oh, I'll find a way to make it happen. And that's when I discovered Ecamm, and I was able to then bring it to Zoom and have fun with it. So because that was where it all started, and that's the show that I was emulating online, as soon as that pub was able to reopen where that show had always been performed live, we took it back there to one, start the tills ringing in that venue because they've been closed for so long and losing money, and two, to give everybody a chance to meet up and get sociable. So we filled that pub this weekend and had an amazing time and met some new friends. Finally got to meet people in the flesh that we'd never met before, as well as seeing people that had always drank in that pub before.
What I learned from performing my shows live to performing them for the lens is to really take it down and to be authentic. I had been working with a director who told me the show that got postponed March 13th, 2020, I had a sold out. It was going to be a 4 week run. The first week was sold out, and for theater and live performance, I don't know if you've experienced this, but people were so kind that instead of getting their money back, they donated it to the theater. So
Nice.
as yeah, and this happened a lot in the theater community, and as soon as I was able, as soon as I watched tutorials, and want to give a shout out to Doc and all the people from Let's Get Live at Ecamm, and I learned how to kind of. I still had some spectacular fails live streaming, but as soon as I kind of learned how to do it, I told the theater I want to do a live stream show for all the people that donated their ticket money back to the theater, and I had a director I was working with, and he told me something that has really made all the difference: is that you're not performing to a room. I would just be real big, but you're just performing to that one person who is.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, there's other people, but it just works so much better when you can really make it personal. So that's been a lot about how I do theater online.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm completely with you. It has also made me almost agoraphobic when the end of the pandemic came and we were able to go back out there. I was like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. My commute is walk down some stairs and I'm there, whereas going back to the live performances, I've spent hours upon hours in my car traveling the country again. And it's great to be back and it's great to see people. But having this method of performance was such a treat for so long. In times that should have been dark and horrendous, I think
Mhm.
you and I and Kathy as well, I'm guessing, we've all found it quite a treat to be able to spend time with people that were trapped at home and had the time to indulge us and watch us.
I
I would be
was,
interested to know
oh, go ahead,
if
Kathy.
with the two
Sorry.
of you guys kind of continuing that. Um, since the two of you are doing live performances, I teach my cooking classes online all the time because I'm lazy and I don't like to bring the whole kitchen with me. So that's how I started it before. But I'm curious because I know that in blogging and with what I do, I find that you can make a really intimate connection that lasts. So, like the people that I do lives for on Facebook and things like that, they turn into my raving fans. And so I'm curious with you guys who both already had a really significant fan base, if you noticed that maybe your fan base was a little tighter or grew a lot from your live streams.
I'll let you go first, Marga.
Um, a lot of people showed up that I didn't know before, and also, I would just get into these live stream holes where I just like I just wanted to talk to people also because I live alone. So I just go on, Facebook Live. So there are some new people, who introduced themselves to me. Um, and I don't know that I had quite the consistency of you and Fonda, because my live streaming was around runs. So sometimes a theater in New York would commission me, and I would live stream my shows ostensibly
Awesome.
for them, but open to everyone. So like I didn't have, a personal show that I did regularly, which I wish I had. But I presented some comedy events, and I had a monthly show for Brava Theater here in San Francisco called "Who's Your Mommy Comedy," and the great thing about that was that I could have all the comedians. Fonda, I didn't know you then. I would have dragged you in. Pardon the pun. Um, and that and they would do a 10-minute, 15-minute spot, and they would be in 3 time zones away. But because we could do
Mm-hmm.
this, we could expand our community. I would say that was the most like significant difference in live streaming.
Okay.
Definitely, it's been a game changer. Like you say, we last year over Pride, we were all able to do shows with colleagues that normally I have to travel to Wales or Scotland to see, and all of a sudden I'm sat in London doing a show with them, which is insane. But I really enjoyed that, and for you to be able to bring people from different time zones together. I found a strange thing. I did get, to go back to Kathy's question, I got a very tight-knit fan base. This smaller family within my fan base developed, but then um,
Mm-hmm.
because I was creating content for the shows, rather than just standing there and talking for 3 hours at them, I would create parody videos, and I redid a version of Grease where I superimposed myself in talking to Danny Zuko and things like that created really strange effects. Like the Grease parody launched me in Brazil. I have no idea why, but my YouTube channel, that one
Wow.
particular video, gets watched like 85 times a day by different people in Brazil. And I don't know why. I wish I did, because it's not in Portuguese, but who knows? Next time I travel over to Brazil, I might be mobbed outside the airport.
That's
Brazilians are
amazing.
great audiences. The Brazilians.
Okay.
I did a little cameo in a show called Sense8 on Netflix, and I had 3 lines. I'm big in Brazil.
It's amazing. They must just be TV addicts.
They're just passionate. They like what's good, Fonda.
Oh, then that's definitely us. Now, Kathy, where's your
Of
biggest
course.
fan base sprung up from?
Oh, well, I do have some people in the UK and Australia. A lot of it concentrates in the US and Canada. There are some other places as well. So there's one woman who always shows up from like Denmark, and so I always have some wonderful people. But I kind of get it from a little around everywhere. I do my classes at 1 to try and catch people on the West Coast, which I know Marga is like, yeah, you need to fix that. But I was doing them at 11 Eastern Standard Time and making people get up. So I was like, no,
Wow.
I need to be more accommodating. Um, but one of the things too is, and I wonder if you guys would do this. So one of the things that and I've been bad about it lately too. So just so you know, is I was going live like once a week at least, maybe Facebook, YouTube, and maybe sometimes even teasing paid events because you guys are, I do some free stuff, I do some paid stuff, just like you guys. So for instance, I did a paid, I made gluten-free veggie hot dogs for Idaho Potato Commission, right? So
Wow.
I went on Instagram right before, while I was peeling the vegetables for it, and just teased it and talked about it, what we're going to do. Sometimes I've even done that on Facebook, the week before. Hey, I'm going to be doing this class. Do you think you guys would do anything like that to kind of keep in touch with that fan base? Or like, Marga, you had kind of said, oh, you had that look on your face like, oh, I wish I had done that. But I also want to say that it's okay if you didn't, but if you want to, you could start now. You could have the Margot Gomez fan club Wednesday night meeting or something.
Oh, yeah, I have definitely thought about that. In fact, the kind of thing where you've got a paid event, and then before that, let's say the paid event is on YouTube, right?
Uh-huh.
And then
Hmm.
before that, you go on Facebook. My experience with Facebook is never making money, but to kind of just get people going, and now we're going to do the show, and here's the link. I love the idea of Kathy peeling the potatoes as a tease. I see that as a whole burlesque act with
Oh, definitely.
some drums and horns. Yeah, Kathy, how did you build this audience?
It's so I had wrote my first book in 2010. I backed into this a little bit. I had a job that was very boring, and so I kept my job and I started a blog and a book, and then that turned into several books. So I didn't have an audience when I did a book, but my books built my audience. It's the opposite. Now, you're not supposed to be able to get a book deal without a good platform. But they were looking for someone to do a vegan slow cooker book. I had been sharing recipes out because I wanted to do one. Um, but then as time has gone on, I've tried different platforms. Facebook has always been pretty good to me, and it's really good to live video. So, and I will say too, I post every day, crickets, right? It's a picture, it's some stuff, nobody cares. Maybe they care 10 clicks worth. But if I do a video for me doing a live yesterday, it's going to pick up my Facebook for the next week or two. With
Wow.
Instagram, I've been building Instagram, and I never thought about doing lives. I really didn't start doing lives until maybe 6 months ago, and it really gets some engagement and reels and all that vertical video. And
Yeah.
Ecamm's great because you can record it, and you can even record vertical video on Ecamm if you wanted to. And I've been getting more people on Instagram from being in Clubhouse, which just sounds like crazy talk, doesn't it? It's like, go do another social media platform to build this other social media platform.
So I never see you. I never see you on Club, or not. I don't see you. Hear you on Clubhouse. Is that still a thing? Because it seems like it
It
just sort of petered out.
it is. I was doing some live video rooms. I was doing some live video rooms with Caleb some every once in a while. I really have pivoted and concentrated on. There was nothing vegan there when I got on in December, or almost nothing. And now I've been doing a lot of vegan rooms for maybe the past 4 months. And that's what really, I probably got, this isn't a lot to everyone. So I only have, I think I have 4,000 ish, 3,000, 4,000 ish followers on Instagram. So it's very small. But I gained like 600 followers in the past couple of months, which is a large percentage. And
Yes, yeah.
basically, because I'm kind of like you were saying, Vonda, that you're heart centered. Like this whole kindness is everything. Like when I do a room in Clubhouse, I'm like, when we ended, I'm like, please, if you just can, do one kind thing for yourself. And if you have the energy, do something kind for somebody else. And so that's kind of was my whole pandemic thing, because I try to tell everybody else to do what I'm trying to do. And I'm real transparent. I'm like, I'm telling you that, and it's going to be a struggle for me to do self care today. um, but because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to put out my personality through Clubhouse. I wasn't sure if it was a video thing, but what we do with our voices over video, we can do over Clubhouse. And that got me a good following. And actually, they've been buying some classes too, which I'm shocked at. Um, but mostly, I think I've built my strongest, most loyal community through doing live videos on Facebook and things. And I literally will just wake up and go, okay, I have oranges. What do I want to make? And so a lot of times I'm not a planned scripted person. Um, and also, if I get a question from the audience, I may totally change what I'm doing, even if I'm presenting at a conference. If four people really want to know, if I'm doing video and they really want to know what mics I'm using, and we're supposed to be talking about how to look in the camera, I will pivot the whole conversation.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful at all, because it's a little all
Oh
over the
gosh, I love
place.
all of it. All of it.
I think it's we don't realize as well the impact that we have on people when we come into their homes, because the amount of people that were sending me messages afterwards telling me that I've kept them alive during a pandemic, and um,
Mhm.
I really thought, oh, they're just being dramatic and very sweet, but really kept you alive? I
Mhm.
don't think so. I'm just prattling around in front of a webcam and trying to make people laugh. And then this weekend, I decided I was exhausted by the end of the weekend, so I extended my hotel room for a night, and I joined one of them that had traveled 300 miles for dinner. And he was telling me of like his depression tendencies and um, the dark places that he'd been to, and just having not only the show, but the community that came with the show that then latched onto him and carried on speaking to him through Facebook. And all of a sudden, he had 20 new friends that he never had before, you know? So um, it is a powerful medium.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I think and I can tell you from my standpoint, because I certainly went through a rainbow of emotional feelings the past 16 months, you know. Sometimes I could hold it together, then there was like, the month I had to stay in bed. And for my wife and I, like we're huge RuPaul fans, and like RuPaul's Drag Race franchises. Like I probably subscribed to 4 channels so that we can see all the RuPaul stuff. We're gonna figure out how we can watch the Thailand one. How can we get the subtitles? Like seriously, because for so long everything was so serious. You wake up, it's serious, serious, serious. And like listening to Marga too, like I felt so grateful for Vlogmas and the Let's Get Live community. And Marga, I was like looking forward to your videos because I knew there would be something I could do, something I could handle, that I could feel, right? And it was so
That's
important.
totally took my attention and my stress because we were I think you knew how to do this, but I was learning, I was learning new stuff for myself. Fonda,
But
I don't know if you know how me and Kathy met. We met online.
Ah,
But there was this there's this subset of the Ecamm community, which I also want to tell folks, if you haven't yet, you can get a free trial to try out
Mhm.
Ecamm. And when you do, make sure that you join the Facebook group for the Ecamm community, because I mean, I learned how to get my first camera. When I'm in a pinch, you just write something down there and they help you. And then besides that, there's people who are just kind of funny, like Doc or Diana Gladney, who they're and Kathy, but we did this thing. I don't know if you've done this. I mean, it seems like this is just your life, Fonda, but we were part of vlogging every day in December, and it was called Vlogmas. and
Okay.
and it was funny because when I first joined, I went, "Oh, I'm the only gay person," and you never are the only gay person, but we all started to find each other, Kathy and Caleb and India, who's always sort of in the community, and so yeah, and then we would do our daily. They're usually some people did very long ones. But the idea was, about 5 minutes, and then we'd all give feedback. Well, not all, no, but there would be feedback on it, and it was great. It just got you in the habit of being a communicator, broadcaster. Yeah.
And it
Nice.
was free. That's it. So it was free, which is crazy. So it was like a university. And so there's, like I said, there's a subset I know very well, and then there's tons of stuff I don't know. And I think all three of us could probably agree that the Ecamm community is super special. Like, not only do they help you learn Ecamm, help you answer questions, Ecamm has hired people from the community to help the people in the community, which you don't see in software in general. And
Yeah.
then for them to come along and do the pride hats, and to
I
Fonda
would
have
wear
us
can't.
one,
They
do
but it
don't
this.
have
won't
one for.
fit. I have
Well,
one. I do
I'm
have
the
one.
only lesbian that looks really bad in a hat. I have a tiny head. So,
I try it to the side. That's what I'm
oh,
doing
now
now.
now you're looking too sexy. Now I'm not going to be able to look at the camera at all. This is all your
Uh-oh,
fault.
where's your wife? Where's the wife with the flag?
She's at the I know, she's gone. She's just
Oh, she's.
left.
Oh, yeah. She's getting taking care of some business. Taking care of some
Okay.
business. Yeah.
Now, you talking about the friendly community that this breeds, I'm amazed as well. I'm all the way over in the UK, and I'm chatting regularly to people from Ecamm, and it's not like you're trying to talk to a switchboard at Microsoft, is it? You're talking to a guy that's actually developing the program, and if you say, "Hey, I did a show last week, and I needed a sound effect to pop up when a picture popped up, and that would be a really handy feature." And they just say, "Okay, we'll program it in. Come back to us later." And that they're just the best person for that. Oh, hang on, I've just seen a message pop up that says, "If you want a hat, let us know because they will send them to you." Caleb was very kind to me. He sent me a message on Instagram, and I hadn't met Caleb or seen him before. And he sent a picture of himself wearing the hat, and he said, "I would like to send you this." And I said, "Oh, he
Oh.
looks adorable. When does he arrive?"
Mhm.
And he said, "No, I'm just sending you the hat." So I was very upset. But I did get the hat, and I now wear it. When I take this off, I have this horrendous line of wig glue around my head. And you try to get it off, but until you get home and take a shower, it doesn't always happen. So now when I'm driving between gigs, to avoid having this like stripe of glue across my face, I just wear the Ecamm hat and wear it with pride.
So
Well, Fonda,
UK,
I think
that's
what
how
you
you
need,
will find Fonda off
yeah,
stage. Look for the hat.
with this hat,
Yes,
with this
definitely.
one.
Although
And
that's
I was
probably
going to
giving
say,
my
Fonda,
secret away. What were you going to say, Kathy?
uh, that you need to do somehow. We need to get all the Ecamm people over to see you in the UK. I'm
Can
going to
you
have to talk to
imagine?
Caleb and see how we can do that, because maybe it could be like a dual show, a little
Yeah.
Marga, a little Fonda. I'll make you guys something snacky for the green room.
This is what I'm thinking. I think that we should
That
start
sounds
off with a
good.
cookery show. You begin the cooking, and we keep coming back to you, and by the end, we see what we could have eaten if we were with you.
We could sing for
No,
our
I want.
vegan supper.
Yeah.
I like that.
But Fonda likes San Francisco, and I've lost my passport, so I think it might be good for Fonda to come to San Francisco. Everybody come to San Francisco,
That is
where
As
so
the
long as
good
I'm
easy
tech,
to
the
invited,
do.
good tech.
Yeah.
as long as
Well,
I'm,
yeah,
yeah.
With with
yes.
with my schedule, I actually used to request to go to San Francisco every Monday morning because on our shift pattern, that would mean I would land back to London on Thursday afternoon, and then I would get Friday, Saturday, Sunday at home to do my drag performances. So I literally used to virtually live in
Mm.
San Francisco. Every Monday to Wednesday, I was there, and I'd leave Wednesday afternoon and come home.
All
So
right, this
next
is
time
very
I'm there,
local,
we are
but
meeting up.
what were your favorite hangouts, Fonda?
My favorite hangouts. Let's see. I have a dirty little secret with San Francisco in that there was a place in this is not like a bar hangout that I'm about to talk about. It was my desperate craving. I'm trying to remember, is it the Buckstone Grill? It's the something grill in the Westfield Mall in the food court that does tri-tip, and they're all over the city. And
And they give you a free sample when you walk by. I
see,
walk by, I change hats.
yeah, I've never done the
Yeah,
American thing because you guys eat lunch without buying anything, don't you? You just go around the food court and that's you done. Whereas
I thought that was
I,
just me. Yeah.
oh, I watch it, and everyone's doing the same thing. But for me, I if I smell steak, I do apologize on the vegan cookery program, but I am
Ooh,
there for
yeah.
that
Okay.
tri-tip. So we need to find a vegan tri-tip. That would be very interesting.
I have a vegan
Yes.
steak, but
Oh
you
wow.
know, it's also okay. Like the whole kindness thing applies to everyone. As long as someone isn't being mean I have a thing I say, I'm as nice as people let me be, and most people let you be really nice.
Yep.
The the people that don't get all the rest.
And they deserve it. Now, the other thing I used to love doing in San Francisco, I'd spend all my time down at the Golden Gate Theatre doing the rush tickets because,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I was free all day, so I could go and queue for those tickets and go and see all the musicals for $20, and then I'd come out of there and just wander down to the Castro and go for a few drinks and try all the different bars out. It was a great city.
Oh, did you know people here?
Not really.
That's so adorable. You could have been my special friend.
Well, I'm hoping
Oh,
I will be next time I come back
oh
because
yes.
I used to
Yes.
go for so
Just
many
don't get more
walks on my own.
famous.
As long as we don't go to Brazil, we can hang out and nobody will interrupt our drinks.
We'll wear our secret Ecamm hats.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
it's
I
a
have to
day,
come and
and
bring Cheryl. So, because Cheryl's never been to San Francisco, and there were a few times I went to San Francisco Pride. She's never been to a big Pride anywhere.
Oh, wow. Now, where are you based,
Yeah.
Kathy?
I'm in Durham, North Carolina. Like we have a little pride. I lived in New York for a while and we had a big pride, but I just
oh,
think
New
she
York,
would
yeah.
be giddy. She would be so giddy to come there.
Now, I've been to your fair city once. I had a very special friend there, and we used to hang out a few times. But I was always there in the fall and saw all the pretty colours on the trees. I didn't realize. I always thought that was a
Mhm.
Boston thing, but in Durham it seemed to be a thing as well.
It is. And we have, I don't know, I think we're like a stop on the drag scene that's traveling through the US. So I think
Okay,
maybe you need to do a US tour.
I should get myself a Winnebago and just tour the entire country.
And then you can do live streams about it all and make a whole other income stream.
Yeah,
Boom.
a
There's
travel
a
log.
there's a drag performer who does have sort of a whole Instagram life and does yeah, a Winnebago or whatever those things are.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'll try to dig up that
Ooh.
page. Uh-oh.
Oh, I've
You know
lost you,
what?
Mom.
Uh-oh.
I know. It's really okay, so hang on
Okay.
here. I'll do this one. You know,
Oh,
can you see me all right?
I can. I can
yeah, you
also
need to
see you.
move over just a tad.
Yeah, this
The other way.
is okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
there you
that's
go.
Really?
that's good.
It looks like I'm in the center. So go this way,
No, you're
What?
good
No,
where
right
you
you
were
are.
here.
when
When your tie
Go
lines up with
this
your
way.
microphone, you're
there.
perfect. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. All right. So here is a tech issue. It's not Ecamm's fault. You can hear me okay,
Yeah,
right?
we can hear
yeah.
you.
I bought this. I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to send it back. I bought like my first fancy camera. A6400, and it turns
Mhm.
off just by itself, and
Oh
it's
no.
There
plugged
may
into the dummy battery. And
okay.
so I'm glad that yeah, it goes back today, and I'm just going to
But
buy
you know what?
something new. What?
You should you should ask in the there may be a setting. Did you already ask in the group? 'Cause or Caleb might know.
I just think that if any if because I have the Sony A5100, and nothing ever happened in a whole year of
Okay.
pandemic. I buy this thing, and three times happened last night too. So I'm sorry that uh, I've ruined everything.
Never.
Oh
That
gosh.
sounds like an
Yeah.
automatic standby feature of the camera that's probably
Yeah.
glitching with you there. I've
Mm.
I've got through the entire pandemic being very cheap and using apps on the internet through my iPhone. So I have an app that I discovered through Ecamm actually that's called Shoot, and that
Oh
leaves
yeah.
your camera on with no notifications on your phone. And my camera shoots in 4K from my iPhone. So that's
Mhm.
why I never bothered investing in anything else, just use my phone. And the phone is
So
also
you're
handy.
you're
Go
using
on.
your phone now?
At the moment, I'm using the webcam on my laptop, but I have my phone right here, and there's a picture of my husband there, who incidentally has just
Oh.
said yum 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 to your. He's the Big Salami. He does web design
Ah.
under the name Big Salami, and you're making his mouth water with your recipe talk. Um, yeah, so I use the phone to do a lot of my special effects. In fact, as we are doing this feed to show people what you can do with Ecamm, I thought I would just show you some things. I'm just going to make you two disappear off the screen for a second when I show you what I do with my bingo. When I do online bingo, I have an app that I download that looks like this to you and me, and then I just tap a button to change the background screen to green, and obviously that then disappears into my background. But then when I bring that up on my bingo show, that gives you all the numbers underneath me with me sat above them, able to talk. And then, oops, hang on, clear all those numbers. And then I can just press each one as I want it to come up. And we have things like that going on, which is pretty awesome. The other thing I love when I do the bingo show, sorry, I'll get rid of that now. Come back to you. Where have I put you
So
to?
cool.
Yeah.
I know. I'm mesmerized.
Right, let me
Can
get
we
back to
have
you guys.
Ecamm community bingo?
Yes, well, why don't we? See, this is the one thing I haven't got involved in yet because I'm different time zone, different country. I'm starting to hear from you guys that there's this whole community of people that
Hmm.
support each other. I've always found that if I email Ecamm or speak to them through social media, they are bang on the money and get back to me straight away with good answers. But I didn't realize that you had this whole kind of clubhouse affair going on that you could all hang out in a meet. So hang on, we've just had a few messages come through from the Ecamm Live community that were talking that it's incredible, and I need to make a
Oh,
tutorial for the community. And oh my God,
Hmm.
yes. So yeah,
They'll
there's
give you a
various things.
mug. If you do that, you'll
I
get a
want a
mug.
Oh,
mug.
you get a mug for that? The
I've been
other thing I
drinking
was,
coffee out of my hat. No, but yeah, I want the mug. It says you're muted. Is that what the Yeah, that's what the mug says.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because the other thing I was
I
going
love.
to show you guys on this is when I do my card turning adventures. I've just had my phone in my hand, so I need to realign my my tripod and my camera. But I'm just going to take you to a different screen now to show you something. Um, when I play your cards right, I've lost that one. In fact, why don't I play a game with you two quite quickly? Let's bring you up. There's a game that in the States is known as Family Feud, and in the UK it's known as Family Fortune. So I'm going to take you over there.
Oh, we can't hear
Oh,
you,
I can't hear the
Vonda.
audio.
I think she's fixing
There we
it.
go. I'm back. I'm back.
Yep.
I forgot to set my sound up. There you go. There's a pitfall for you when you're creating your scenes. Make sure that you have the microphones plugged in that you're going to use, because
Yeah,
you
lock
can
it.
then pre-program all that. Obviously,
Lock
I
that
didn't have.
scene too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely. So now with the beauty of all of Ecamm's overlays, I'm able to get you two up as contestants on the side of my screen. I'm able to host from this side of the screen, and with the green screen background, I can just disappear into that. Um, all I've done to create this is take a looped video and turned it pink and put it on as a background video, and then created two
Yes.
black boxes and put some numbers up as a text overlay. And then all of a sudden you have a TV studio at your disposal. Now, we're going to play this quiz. Obviously, you don't have buzzers because you're not with me. So I think
Oh
you need
wait, I think we
to,
have sound effects though. Don't we all have sound effects?
you do
Oh,
have
I
sound
can
effects.
just
Can you,
go, nah.
I was going to say, if you don't, because Kathy doesn't look like she's very close to her computer at the moment. So instead of a sound effect, Kathy, I think if you know the answer, you should shout carrot, as you are a vegan chef. And when I think of San Francisco, I think of bears and prisoners. So I think of
Wait,
Alcatraz.
bears and what?
Prisoners. I think of leather bears and daddies. I think of prisoners on Alcatraz, or cable
Oh,
cars. I
okay.
tell you what, I think of cable cars. So you can shout ding ding, and Kathy, you shout carrot,
Care.
and shout your buzzer before you shout your answer so that I can come to the first buzz. So your question is to name something slippery.
Okay, I
Carrot.
got it. Wait,
Carrot, carrot. Okay, carrot goes first then because you buzzed in first. So what is your something slippery?
who,
Um,
me?
fish.
Kathy,
Oh,
fish. You say fish. That is on there. It is answer number three. There you go. So we have a
what am
sound
I supposed
effect.
to? Yeah, I don't think my sound effects were working. Are they? Let me try it again. Uh, can you hear that?
No, I can't
Can
hear
you hear
that.
this? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just
You know
gonna.
what? We can
What's
just
my?
take turns.
Yep.
Let's just
So
take
No, I'll
turns.
just.
Make it easy.
Okay, sure.
You go
well, well,
next.
well. The way this works, as in Family
Yeah. So,
Feud, Kathy, you have given me the third answer. Take over my show. You. You've given me the third answer, which means there are two higher answers up there. So that gives
wait,
our
I
lovely.
want to get a sound effect, please. Can you just pause, please? I want to get my
Yep.
sound effect.
So am I supposed to guess one of the one above it
So,
before?
so now that you've guessed an answer and you've given it to me, that was your first answer. That's the third answer in order of popularity. So,
I am back in the game.
cool. I thought you'd find this really easy because it's a game that you play in the States as well. So, basically, the idea
But
is
no, no.
This
no,
is easy.
no. So the
You should
idea
see
is
me
that,
do something difficult.
yeah,
See?
I, the oh, well done.
Thank you. This isn't okay. I'm sorry. This isn't a good sound effect. Okay, I'll just go. I'll just go beep. All right, that's it.
See,
This is
Mondo,
flawless.
we don't even
Absolutely.
need a game. We're just funny trying to learn a game.
Yeah. So what I'm
So
trying to
far, we're
do
at
is,
fish. Hey, what's going on here, fish? What is that?
uh,
All right.
so I'm trying to show Ecamm people, viewers, how you can use the built-in tools to create game boards for your broadcast. So obviously on
Hmm.
here, we have a video backdrop, we have you two guys as camera overlays, and then I have some text overlaid on top of that, which is how we get the answers. So that's the main purpose of doing this. But let's have a little fun while we do it and play this game. So Kathy gave me the first answer, which is fish. Now, these answers are from a survey of 100 people, and more people gave me a higher answer than fish. So that means, Marga, you get a chance to steal control of the game if you can give me one of the higher answers. So what do you think is more slippery than a fish?
Oh, soap.
Soap is there, but
Hmm.
it's answer number five, which means, Kathy, you take control of the board. Now you can decide You've got 3 lives to clear this board, and if you don't clear the board within 3 lives, if you don't guess the 4 remaining answers, Marga could come in and steal it from you. So, do you want to play or pass? Do you think you can get the other 4?
Ooh. Probably not, though. I feel like I've got a good one, but I'm going to pass it to Marga.
Okay, so Marga, you have 3 lives to fill this board out. So tell me what you think is slippery.
I'm not going to say that one. Banana peel.
A banana peel is there. You are good at this. That's answer number 4.
Okay. Still on me?
Yep, it's you to clear
Oh,
it.
God, I'm drying up.
Uh-oh.
So slippery. Okay. Lotion.
Lotion is a good answer, but sadly, it's not there. So you lose one of your lives. And I use an overlay to show your lost life there. See how good this is?
Oh, it's so
That's so
good. It's so
fancy.
good.
So then you have 2 more lives left to complete this board. So something slippery. I think you'd find it more in Minneapolis than you would in San Francisco, because their temperatures are way different and they don't have as much salt in the air. So what do you think you might find?
Whose turn is it?
It's
Me?
yours.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Ice.
Ice is there. That's incredible. You are so psychic. There you go. It's the top answer. So you have
You're-
2 more answers to
yeah.
find, and I think you're going to find these difficult because I think this is more of a British thing now. So give me your guesses and let's see if you can find them.
Every one of my dates.
Every one of your dates. Sadly, I believe you, but I don't think it's there. You've lost 2 lives. You've got 1 life left to finish this.
Oh, jeez. Uh, um, slippers.
Slippers is there. I put that
What?
in as a
No
funny
way.
answer. I put that in as a
No.
funny
Oh my
answer. No one
God.
ever gets it.
These
So
people
well
are
done you.
nuts.
Well done you.
I would have never thought of that. I never would have gotten ice either, though.
Really?
Well, that
You've
was
never slipped on
that was
ice?
the Minnesota clue.
You gave
That
I
was
like
think
a clue,
Fonda
and I'm
being
thinking there's a
very
lake there.
American.
you were thinking of a little Land O'Lakes butter package, were you?
Mm.
So your final one, I'm guessing you have these in the States, although I've never seen them. In the UK, certain people eat them pickled in vinegar, which is just disgusting, and pickled in jelly as well. But they're like a
Oh, I know what it
snake in
is.
a
I know what it
pond.
is.
Can I give it to Kathy?
Go on, give it to
I,
Kathy.
I think I know what it is, and maybe I'm wrong. Eel.
It is an eel. Yes, there you go.
Yes.
And that's how we
Weird
play
foods for 5,000, please.
a. So that's how Ecamm has changed my world. I get to do all kinds of fun effects with stuff like that and play the games that they're used to playing in the pubs.
I love that.
Oh,
I love the
that was
idea of
fun.
playing that like in a bar too. Would that not be the most fun?
Yeah, that's what I was doing this weekend. That's how it always was. But now, of course, because I have Ecamm, where I used to have to do this with pieces of cardboard on Velcro on a wall behind me, now all of a sudden I just stand there next to my laptop in front of a giant TV screen and I feed the monitor output into there, take my camera off, and all of a sudden I'm standing in front of this high-tech studio. So Ecamm, again, although it's a great thing for doing broadcasts online, if you want to take your entertainment into a live venue, you can still do a lot of the effects live and just switch your camera off and perform in front of the monitor behind you.
That's
That's
amazing.
great.
Marga, I think you need to be doing some. I want to see your lesbian quiz show.
What would be the challenge on a lesbian quiz show? I'm intrigued.
How to avoid hiking. Uh,
And do you guys
yeah,
How
all
long
hike
can
cats
you
in the
date
States?
before you move in? Right? How long can you date one another with it before you move in.
Yes. Now, in the UK, I'm interested if girls are the same in the States as they are in the UK, because in the UK, you live together within a week, and by 10 days, you've adopted a cat. Does it happen like
Or a
that over
dog.
there?
Mhm.
Or a dog?
Yeah, and that's why lesbians always leave early because they have to walk their dog.
Oh,
So
okay.
you've got to finish your show by 10 p.m. because they've got to walk the dog.
Wow. Okay. Now,
Um,
And
I did
but
I
yeah,
adopted a
no,
dog during
just thinking
lockdown.
about this. You
Maybe
what?
I'm becoming a lesbian. I adopted a dog during lockdown.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we had
Oh,
one of our local animal shelters had to close during lockdown, and they put an appeal out for people to take dogs. And I had very little money left because I wasn't working, and I thought I could very soon be homeless myself. And you always give more money to the homeless person with a dog, so it would be a savvy business investment for me to go and get myself a dog. So that's what I did, and I ended up with two Chihuahuas.
you turned a
oh,
heartwarming story into one of greed.
But when we're talking on the subject of greed, the other reason I bought a dog was because during lockdown I was putting on too much weight. So I thought getting a dog would help me exercise. And Chihuahuas don't exercise. When you open the door on a British winter to a Mexican dog, they look out of that window and they say, "Oh no, Fonda, it's a bit parky out there. I don't want to go out. I'll just stay here. You can find me when you get back." And then you end up taking them out and they walk behind you like a broken kite. You have to drag them across the park. But because they're so small, if you run fast enough, they fly behind you like a kite, which is always quite nice. But the reason that I did manage to lose weight with having a Chihuahua was not because it kept exercising me, but because there is nothing more soul destroying than when you have your Christmas candy box in front of you and you are chomping away, and this dog looks at you with pity in its eyes, and you think that it's begging for treats when you realize it's actually just got its paw stuck in one of your fat folds and can't get away. That's what stops you eating that
oh,
candy.
that's
Chocolate's
with
poisonous to dogs, by the way, not to be a downer on this heartwarming
I know. I
story.
would never feed my dog chocolate.
yeah. Just safety tip. What I don't know about Margaret with you, but I feel like the shelters wait for the lesbian couples to come, and that's when they bring out like the dogs in the back that no one would ever look at. You know,
Oh,
here's the
Uh-huh.
one-legged, one-eyed, half an ear Chihuahua, and we're like, "Do you have another, please? Can I have two?" But
so
we're
so
always the moms of special needs. So I have one that's a hound pity mix, when he's scared of everything. So my instant pot will go beep, and he's like, ah.
oh
So he's
wow.
got your Chihuahua's temperament, probably.
Oh, hound pit bull. I thought it was a mix of hound and the emotion pity. But yes,
Oh no, P I
pity,
P
hound
T I
pity.
E.
You ain't nothing but a hound
Yeah,
pity. Um,
he,
well,
he
that's
kind
great.
of
No,
is.
I resisted getting a dog. I think if it hadn't been for Ecamm and my obsession working with equipment that fails on me, I would have had more time to think about getting a pet.
I think Ecamm has kept us very busy.
I think
And
there's so much to
here's the
do.
thing. Yeah, and after and now that we're reopening, Fonda, the UK is finally reopening, right? There aren't any
We're
more
in an
setbacks, right?
interim we're in an interim stage where we were supposed to be fully relaxed, face masks off by June the 19th. And because they're not happy with how far the vaccine program's gone, they want to wait one more month. So we have had three stages of this lockdown. The first one was where you could have performances outside as long as only groups of six were together and then social distanced, and you could only have people from two households within your group of six. Then they allowed us to have six inside, and I got as far as five, but then I started walking funny, so I wouldn't recommend that. Um, then they they allowed
Ow!
this is a This is a family show, right? So then the
The
next
children
step,
don't understand.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then so we're at this stage now where you can have tables of up to six inside to watch you, or groups of 30 outside. And then the next step is full relaxation back to how the world used to be. And that should be by July 19th.
Wow. Yeah, I'm in San Francisco, and we were, I think, very, very, strict with the COVID measures, and seems to have been very helpful because we're like one of the leading spots for herd immunity,
Oh,
which I
okay.
still don't know what it is, but I like to say it. It sounds very butch. Herd immunity. But
It
I do
gave me
feel though
tingles.
that, what's that,
I'm
Kathy?
sorry, I said it gave me tingles.
I gave you a tingle. But I am like, I did spend a lot of money on my live streaming equipment. So
I
as
did.
I know things are reopening, I also still feel that I want to continue to do performances, live streaming, because I do think there are people who, first of all, who aren't geographically near me, and also people who don't maybe want to go out, still feel like compromised immune wise. So, yeah, so I'm going to keep some of this stuff going. How about, I know that Kathy, you were doing it before, so it's not even an issue, right? But Fonda, do you feel like you're going to keep some entertainment online for folks?
Yeah, I what I've enjoyed is I've done 15 months of online performances and I've uploaded them to my YouTube channel and it's created like this video diary of stand-up comedy. And now when I'm going back to work and I don't know about you, when you're writing your comedy, sometimes I really wish I kept a diary so that I could just scan back and think, oh, I can joke about this, I can joke about that. These are the events that have happened in my life
Mhm.
recently. And instead, I just sit there racking my brain trying to remember. Where now I have this video diary that I can look back on and say, oh, October last year I was doing this, and then in January I did that. So it's given me a great reference point for my own work to help me pick the highlights when I go and do live shows and say, what a year I've had. Here's the story. Um, and I want to carry on with that. I want to still have that reference point. And it's enabled people that haven't seen me for a very long time because they live in different parts of the country, different countries, in fact. With being airline crew, I've built up friends across the world as well that were never able to see my show. And now they've been following me for 15 months. So it's really been a great tool and I want to carry on with that.
I think our links to our YouTube channels are somewhere in this on this page, I believe.
Okay. I-
Hopefully,
If
but if
not,
not,
if
what are, should we say our YouTube channels?
Yeah, go for it.
I bet, yeah.
Tell me what your YouTube channels are. I will even put them up as a subtitle so that people can grab them. What's yours?
I'm Kathy. What's yours?
I think it's Kathy Hester Vegan Cooking. You can just search Kathy Hester. Right now, I'm the only game on YouTube. But Caleb will probably
Oh,
come
thanks,
back and put them
Rhonda.
on too.
Yeah,
You're
I
so
think
awesome.
uh, I'm Marga Gomez comedy, but my YouTube channel is in shambles. But my plan is to take all my theater clips and then do a whole, like, a second channel for that, so that I can just do comedy and people don't get mixed up. Because I've started doing some well, I was doing tutorials on how to live stream a show, and I'm starting to teach how to create a one person show, and I'm doing that online next month for a theater in Arizona. But
Oh,
it's
awesome.
yeah, right now, Margaret Gomez comedy.
Marga Gomez comedy. Let me pop that up so as people are watching, they can see that.
And Marga, I like your older clips on there too. I watch them.
Thank you. And I had this YouTube channel that I abandoned, and it had like so many followers. Like I think I had over 1,000. For me, that's a lot. but I can't get into it. I can't remember my my password, and so now it's in this legacy thing that I can't access. So I have to start all over
Hmm.
again.
Oh no, that's terrible.
And what about you, Vonda?
I'm just typing it and I'm back with you. That's the one thing I do find with Ecamm is that I'm getting very good at it after 15 months, but there's a lot where you have to be the swan and look at the camera and chat whilst you're busy typing away and clicking on a few links. And there is technology out there as well that I haven't invested in, where if you pre-program it all, then you can just hit a button and it will come up. But yeah, that one was obviously very off the cuff because I was learning from you as you were telling me what they were. So um,
Well,
Thank you,
you
I'm
did
Fonda, and I love the
great.
colors. I love the
yeah,
colors.
very vivid,
Very
just
well
like
done.
us.
I,
There you
and you did that, and you didn't break a nail.
I must admit that is one thing I've been very bad at with online shows is I've not been wearing nails or tights or heels. And in fact, when I was going back to work for the first time, my first show I did, they announced me and I had to descend a staircase down onto the stage. And I was sat in the dressing room with a pair of 6-inch stilettos on, thinking, right, I'm ready. I'm psyched up for this. Just get my music playing. Let's get out there. And as soon as they announced me, I stood up and went to walk out of the dressing room. And I was like, oh God, how do you walk in these things anymore? And I crawled down that staircase looking like, I don't know, Helen Hayes auditioning for Miss Marple or something. It was bad.
I hope nobody taped it, put it
Oh,
up, went viral.
yeah. There was a lot of things that people should have taped that night. That it was because it had to be an outdoor gig. They put me on the wettest, windiest day of the year in a tent. So I felt very much like Diana Ross in New York that time that she nearly drowned on stage with the amount of rain that flew in her face. I ended up looking like
Oh.
Alice
Oh,
Cooper by the end of that show.
that's a rough stage.
Yeah. Now I've
I
shown. Oh, go on, Margot.
I have to go do another. I'm taking an online. I'm do a thing on Twitch, and it's an online ukulele class.
Oh wow,
It's coming up. Yeah,
sounds
so
awesome.
I've got to quickly tune my ukulele.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go and do that, obviously, because your ukulele fans await. I really want to talk to Kathy briefly about her camera setup as well, so that people watching this to get an idea of broadcasting can see what you do with your broadcasts.
I
So,
want to listen.
oh, you want to listen? Okay, so,
Yeah, you could
Margaret, I was
kick me off the broadcast, but I want to listen. I'll be
okay.
here listening.
So, Kathy, I'm going to give you the screen now and ask you to show us through some of your broadcast techniques, what you do.
okay. Now, let's see. I want to try one thing. I don't think I've, if I do live demo mode, do you see it now on the screen?
Yeah, we see that.
Or, okay, you see all the buttons and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what you're seeing is Ecamm. And so I've got, this is what I think is magic. You can do all the cool things Vonda was doing, but like literally, so this is my computer camera, right? This is my overhead camera, which is not in focus right now. Sorry about that. But this is how easily I'm changing cameras. And this is the back of my head. And
Wow.
so I have behind me, and actually you can see it right here too. So see, this is actually an iPad. This could be a phone. It's wireless connected to Ecamm to give me another camera view. So I often do that if I want to put a camera by the sink or something like that. It costs like $10 and it just works like magic. And so this is kind of my setup. So that I have 4 lights that are attached to the kitchen counter. That's some of my Harry Potter paraphernalia, some Cornish pixies over there, and some candles hanging from the ceiling. But I have my front-facing Sony 7R2, and then I have a Lumix overhead camera. And that fan is to blow. I turn it on during classes. So when I open an Instant Pot, it doesn't fog up my lens.
Clever.
So that, yeah. So it's really quite simple. Um, and the thing to remember, and you can see over here probably that I've got that little red thing, and that's the virtual cam that I'm going through the Ecamm interview process with. But it's just so easy. And some cool things you can do too. So let's say, even with this, so if you come here and you have your camera effects, so for whichever one I click is what it'll do. So if I was on here, I could zoom. Oh, I can't zoom in on. Oh, there we go. Click it, and then I could zoom in, and you can see the Cornish pixies. Yay! Right? Or if I was here, I can zoom in a little bit more, which is never. I'd rather zoom out, but And then you have this box, and you can decide where it goes. And so that I find to be super helpful. And here's where, when we were talking about putting in green screens, sometimes if I do this, it's so green outside, it might try to, yeah, see, look, see what happened to
Wow,
my windows? Isn't that crazy?
that's insane.
But yeah, and I'm going to turn off live demo mode real quick, but it's just, I think people think it's going to be hard. And the one thing that I would love to show is, like, seriously, did you see? I was a middle-aged lady clicking buttons with pictures on it. That's how easy it is. And even setting up like another fancy camera. And what Vonda does is amazing. Like with all your overlays and all your programs and your scenes, and you can, and I one day want to learn how to use my scenes properly. But you can do a whole lot depending on what you're doing. So, like, I think for you, those games are mind blowing,
Well,
really.
that's really helped me out, as I was saying, not just on the live feeds, but then now that I'm back in the pubs, there's so many stages that just have a giant LED backdrop behind you now, and I can plug into that and have my laptop on a podium next to me and control all these virtual boards. Whereas before, it was a very cheap looking artist's easel with a bunch of Velcro and cardboard. So to do the games is awesome. What you're doing with your cookery and your multi-camera points is awesome. As you were talking about going through various scenes, I'm able to set up scenes so that I can skip from bingo to a prize winners animation to various things. When we're doing the bingo, even we have certain calls in the UK. I'm sure you probably have something similar in the States where certain numbers are given certain names. And one of them for us on bingo is 59 is the Brighton line. And at that point, I have
Oh,
it's a little locomotion train that animates across the bottom of the screen with the number 59 ahead of it. And the song Locomotion comes out. And I get all my audience to get off their sofas and do a locomotion around their lounge. So, the possibilities with this software are endless, and that's something that I really wanted to come on and share today to boost that Ecamm community so we can meet even more fabulously talented people like you.
well, and you, of course, and Marga. And I want to circle back too, because even though I have a couple of fancy cameras, again, with you talking about using your phone, and then I want people to understand, because I think a lot of times people go, well, I don't want to have a bunch of cameras. I don't want to do a lot of this. There's no reason for me to have Ecamm.
Yep,
But you can do so much with Ecamm with your phone or iPad. Now, you're obviously using a program to connect the two, and it's not exactly the same thing. However, it's really, if you have a laptop and you have a phone, you have the ability to have a multi-camera setup right now without spending
yep,
more than $20. Maybe you'll want to get a phone tripod and an app for your phone, but
yep.
that's it. And if you're married like we are, you put an app on your iPhone, and then I get to use the wife's iPhone and iPad
Okay,
too. So that gives me four.
yep. We're exactly the same. I have a phone for my job. I have a phone for my personal use. I have a an iPad, and we've just plugged. even if you don't want to invest in apps that give you a virtual connection, you can just plug the chargers into your USB hub and they come up as
Mhm.
an extra camera on your switcher. So this thing is
That's true
incredible.
too. And I haven't done it so long since I found that one thing, and I didn't realize, this is kind of funny, that it actually was a wireless app. So I was using it wirelessly, and I couldn't figure out how to turn off my phone. I pulled it out, and I'm like, there's a poltergeist in my phone. It's still showing on here
Wow.
what's happening. But I just can't say enough about Ecamm. And like I said, I've been a really long-term user, and that even just over the past 2 years, the amount of effort and ease and suggestions that they really pour in and update. Um, I with the people that I teach, a lot of times my first question is almost, do you have a PC or a Mac, right?
Yeah,
And they're like, oh, when are they going to make this PC? And I don't think it's going to happen because that would be a lot of programming. But I do think Ecamm is worth buying a Mac for.
definitely.
That's my personal, yeah, because I've tried some of the competitors and I've tried it with some students who had PCs, and it was not as easy to use.
No.
That's the nicest thing that I can say. It was not,
And like you say,
mm-mm.
it's whatever level you want to use it at. If you're just happy to punch buttons and go between cameras, it works as a multiple camera studio. And for me, if I want to invest time designing some videos in a different software program where you can do video editing and then use them as backdrops or overlays, then all you do is punch those same buttons you're punching and they appear in front of me or behind me. So it's so easy.
Yeah, and it amazes me to see what you've done with it. I think it's always interesting. I think people who don't use a multi-camera setup are like, how can you possibly do that? And people literally ask me, how can you run your show by yourself?
Yeah.
And I think the one word answer is Ecamm, and it may be the same for you as well.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't speak highly about more highly about this program. It's a game changer.
Well, I don't know if anybody has any questions for us, but if they do, I'm not seeing any over here.
No, I'm not
But I
seeing
see,
any. I see that we have 6 viewers. If there's any questions, then we'd be happy to answer them for you. One
but I've
question,
just been so glad to meet you
and
as well.
likewise, I've never been a vegan chef, but I am tempted to tune in and become one for a day and see some fancy recipes. I'm intrigued on how you make a hot dog without using any meat.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of joking around saying I was making that special for our Pride edition. But yeah, and there's so many different things, but also everybody eats vegan food. You just may not eat it all the time. So
Yeah,
that's another thing to,
I
no
I am.
judgments from Kathy.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, I love when we go to the Middle East, and I love eating the stuffed
Mm.
vine leaves with rice and the hummus and the baba ganoush and all those things. So there's a lot of vegan recipes there.
It's very true. And I've been dying to go to the UK. So when things open up, we're going to have to come and catch a show.
You are, and I live 15 minutes from the airport that you will land into, so I will come and say hello personally.
Okay, I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, you do that. I'm going to join this little Ecamm community you speak of. I feel like I've been missing out. I've just been enjoying the software and not the people that are surrounding the software.
You're going to have a really good time.
Awesome. We'll have to stay in touch and switch details so that I can find my way into this. And if Caleb is watching, if he wants to put any details up for people who are contemplating getting Ecamm and want to join communities, then that would be cool too. I think that we're not going to be having any questions today, but I hope that some of the things that we've demonstrated might be useful to people that watch this later on after the live broadcast on our YouTube channel. Um, so I guess all that's left really to say is, sadly, Magda had to, yeah, had to, Marga, sorry, not Magda, As soon as I said that, I thought, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Marga had to leave us to go and play her ukulele for some adoring fans. So thank you very much to her for joining us. And also thank you to Kathy. And what a fun way to spend a little bit of virtual pride together.
I feel very invigorated, and I hope you do too.
I do. And I'm very intrigued now to come and view both of your channels and see more of what you two do. So hopefully we'll see each other on a virtual platform and maybe one day physically.
That would be lovely. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your Pride Month.
Thank you. You too. There's not much left of it, but we'll make it
Grab it while you
amazing.
can.
Exactly. Kathy, happy Pride. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And that's the end of our broadcast. So thank you for joining us all. And
Awesome.
I hope that you found some useful information from this. Don't forget to check out Ecamm on their website. Just Google Ecamm. It's so simple. You will not struggle to find this company. Everyone raves about them. They're all over social media as well. So just go out there and find them. You're going to love this program. Use it, become famous, and join our little community. I've been Fonda Cox, joined by the lovely Kathy and Marga, and over and out. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Good night.